I'll start off by just introducing myself. My name is Toby Yos, and I work for the University of Hawaii Manoa Uehiro Academy, which is a home of philosophy for children. And my position's also partly supported and funded by Waikiki Elementary School and Hawaii Community Foundation. So it's a partnership between many people. And one of the things that I do, one of my favorite things to do, is do outreach classes where I work with different kids from different schools. So I just brought them along today to share what we do. And I'm just going to try to say as little as possible. I'm just your moderator, and I'm going to hand it over to them after just giving you a quick introduction. And yeah, I mean, kind of as we were talking about presenting this, these are 8 different kids from all different schools who some of them hadn't met each other until a few days ago. And they represent different groups different partnerships that we have with Philosophy for Children outreach classes. And I just thought in presenting this, you know, these 8 young people here, they're pretty special and have special things to say. So I just wanted to give them a chance to speak to you and for you to hear from them. So we'll start off by introductions.
Hi, I'm Kai, EY King, and I'm a senior at Roosevelt.
Hi, I'm Angela Abinalis, and I'm a junior in high school at Hawaii Baptist Academy.
Hi, I'm Robert Yos. I'm a junior at homeschool.
Hi, my name is Jalissa Garcia. I'm a sophomore at McKinley High School, which is just down the street. Oh, and
Hi, I'm Layla Durazo. I am in 7th grade, and I go to Seeks.
Hi, I'm Zala Grona, and I also go to Seeks.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and I go to Waikiki Elementary School, and I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, my name is Allison Namiki Roberts. I am in the 6th grade, and I go to La Piedra Hawaii School for Girls.
And I'll manage the microphone. Yeah, so all the guys on the end are all alumni of Waikiki Elementary, or a current Waikiki Elementary kid too. So that's how I got to know them. Jalissa and I go way back about 10 years to Aloha Elementary when I was there. And these guys are all part of, well, one's my son, yeah. These guys are all part of Hawaii Youth Opera Chorus, which we have a partnership with. Okay, I'm just going to give you a little background, and I'm going to try to just share with you a couple of ideas that led to the creation of these groups. And then I'm going to hand it over to them. So I went high tech today and used chart paper. So can I have a tall person? Or you got it? Or Rob? How about Rob? Because you're not behind the projector. And we had planned to make a circle, because always, you know, P4C style, we always have a circle. We always use a community ball until we realized that the cord in the mic wasn't long enough and we didn't have time to move every table. So we'll go kind of this way today. So I'm going to tell you a quick creation story. And this goes back really about 30 years. So I've been doing philosophy for children. And if you're interested, I won't get too much into philosophy for children right now, but if you're interested, next door, as soon as we're done here, we're doing a presentation there. We'll actually demo philosophy for children. So thanks, Rob. So I've been doing philosophy for children for 30 years. And kind of the big idea I got out of my journey doing philosophy for children, you're probably familiar with this term, the idea of the hidden curriculum, right? You learn not just, certainly students learn from what you say, from the content of what they say, but just as deeply they learn from how you say it. So philosophy for children is a pedagogy that largely relies on the how, right? We can talk about so philosophy for children, we're sitting in a circle. We're talking about the kids' questions. Sometimes they're super profound. this Saturday, Ali and Layla and I, last Saturday, we're talking about, for example, is right and wrong something that people define, or is there something beyond that? Sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's like, what's your favorite Pokemon, right? Or what animal would you like to be? So it's not so much what we're talking about in philosophy for children, but it's in that circle creating a place where certain kinds of thinking and relating are practiced, modeled, and internalized, right? So that's why P4C has been recognized over the decades as both a critical thinking initiative and a SEL initiative, because it's both, right? It's creating an environment where these things are practiced. So coming from my P4C background, you know, I tend to think that way, it's not so much about what I talk about, it's what kind of environment we create, what kind of learning environment is created and what kind of practices are being lived there, lived and learned. Okay, the second one, resiliency theory. I also spent 20 years doing counseling. And this is an idea that I ran across that was very impactful on me. And actually, as I hear today, the last 2 days, a lot of the speakers, what they say, especially the SEL presentations, resiliency theory is lying beneath this. But for those of you who aren't familiar with that, and I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a complete expert, so please research more, but they did a longitudinal study on the island of Kauai. And they started, this was decades ago. Maybe 20 years ago, I met one of the participants in this study, and she was in her 50s or 60s. So this is a very long-term study, and they kind of flipped the script, right? Where traditional medical models in counseling asks, what's wrong with this kid and how do I fix them? They noted that you look at kids who come from difficult situations, and about half of them escape from that cycle of dysfunction and grow up to have productive, happy lives, however you define that. And half kind of stay stuck in that cycle of dysfunction. So they ask the question, what are the protective factors or protective processes that allow kids to be resilient in the face of challenges? So that was so it's more proactive, right? The traditional model is more reactive. You're seeing problems and fixing them. This is introducing protective processes before you have problems into kids' lives. So, and the three basic ones, I kind of put in there are more, but the ones I put in my main were, the three I tend to focus on, three of the most important ones, put in my own words, are connection with a caring adult, right? If not a parent, a teacher, a coach, auntie, uncle, someone. They found that's a key factor, having that connection with someone who unconditionally cares about them. Belonging to a supportive peer group, having a group of good friends. And both of these I'd sum up with, Aloha, those first two. And not the cheap, superficial kind that's like the knockoff plastic lei from Taiwan, right? But the authentic stuff, the deep caring between kids and adults and among peer groups. The last one, they use the word high aspirations. I kind of think of that as giving people a chance to shine, right? You kind of find out what their strengths are and help develop those. And like today, give them a chance to showcase them, right? So for my work, these two ideas, we're going back about 15 years ago, I was noticing a lot of kids, I was at Aloha Elementary at the time, I had a lot of kids who really were missing these things from their lives, right? They oftentimes didn't have a good connection with a parent or a caring adult. Oftentimes they weren't connected to an optimally supportive peer group. And especially if you think back to a couple decades, especially at a school that didn't have test scores, it's kind of like if you weren't good at math and reading, you get double and triple math and reading, right? And these kids without financial means never had a chance to develop their talents and to experience success. So I started with the Honolulu Museum of Art about 14 years ago, and we said, I had a girl. She came from China. She was a third grader, didn't talk to anyone, super shy. They called her a selective mute, but she was a brilliant artist. So I was like, I gotta find something for this kid, right? So that was the beginning of this, of creating these groups where it's not necessarily the focus isn't on what the kids do. It's just matching, but it is matching their strengths with the group. But it's really focused on kind of the relationships here and introducing these protective processes into their lives. So that's kind of the hidden curriculum behind what I've been doing with these groups. And I've done a number, and these guys, I want to stop talking now. We'll save a discussion question for the end if we have time, but we'll skip over that for now. So that's just why I wanted to give you as a little background, okay? That's how these groups started. So what I'm going to do is turn it over to these guys, and they're representing a number of groups that are partnerships between Waikiki School, and different community partners. The partners here we'll be talking about is Hawaii Uthappa Chorus, Hawaiian Sidetracking, Hawaii Art, which is kind of a partner that's been an offshoot of the Honolulu Museum of Art. And I think that's it, yeah? And then some just straight P4C with me. So I'm going to just let them answer two questions. First, what do they do in that group? What's it like, right? What are some of the stuff they do? And then what it meant to them. And I have no idea what they're going to say. So we'll just see what they come up with, and they can share their stories with you. And we'll take it from there. So we're going to start with Hawaii Uthappa Chorus. And I should say this is a 59-year-old organization that I certainly didn't start. But I got to know them, and all those, it's just, in a way, that organization's been an inspiration for me because it richly embeds all three of those protective processes in kids' lives. So I partnered with them. So their time with Hawaii Uthappa Chorus is apart from me, except when I'm chaperoning them, which lately has been every night. But they also do P4C with me afterwards. So they're going to talk about both aspects of both Hawaii Uthappa Chorus, their participation in that, and the time we spend at P4C. And one thing I should note, this is longitudinal. That's what I love. That's what I learned from Hawaii Uthappa Chorus. That's K to 12. So everyone here, like down at that end, maybe I've worked with Ali maybe 2 years. I think everyone else I've worked with from 5 to 10 years. So we start them in lower elementary, and then as long as they want to keep going, we try to create opportunities for them to keep together. Okay, I'm turning it over to you guys. So, yeah, you got it?
Okay, so HoLC is Hawaii Uthappa Chorus. It's a K to 12 organization with 5 different ensembles. We are a studio in the high school ensemble. So HoLC, in addition to singing, we do hula, musical theory, festival. So we take part in a lot of community festivals, concerts, operas. We meet every Saturday, and after rehearsal on Saturday, we do P4C at UH. I think that's about it. What do we do at P4C?
Okay, so they wanted me to prompt them sometimes. So Rob kind of talked about what it is, and now you, Kai and Angela, you guys are gonna talk about what it means to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so HoLC has always been a huge part of my life, and I started in kindergarten, and I've always loved singing, and even before HoLC, I've always loved singing, and it was great to be in a place where everyone shared the same view as me, because, you know, we're all in a choir, so we all love to sing, and I was really shy, like, didn't even talk, like really shy, like I couldn't be able to do this, but I love singing so much, so I joined HoLC, and I also took part in 6th grade. I took part in a class voice that they offer at HoLC. And in class voice, it's a program where you learn about the voice and you sing individual songs that are performed at the end of the semester. And throughout the semester, you work with your peers to you can suggest things to your peers on what they can do to improve their song and their performance of the song. And in the beginning, I was really scared, and it showed. It was obvious because I would I would fidget and wobble a little bit. But I love singing so much that I just pushed through it. And singing is one of those things where it's you're really vulnerable. I don't think, it's one of the it's really scary to sing in front of a group of your friends when they're all around the same age and some of them are better than you. And it can be really intimidating. And we all share the same process. We all go through the same anxiety of performing, the stress that you feel when you're in front of a crowd, and the excitement from the thundering applause. And we all get it, and we all understand where each of us are coming from. And that's what makes HoLC so great. We share each other's experiences, and even just in general, empathizing with another person is what makes or breaks a community, because if you share experiences, then you can basically what I said. You can understand where they're coming from, and it just makes the transition between because we're all different grades. It's K through 12, and it's just I don't know, it's a family. So I've gotten really lucky that I get to be a part of this choir, even though it's my last year because I'm a senior. I've been so blessed with these people right here, and I'm so glad that I got to be a part of it. Thank you.
I'm kind of short. I have to. Okay. I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit how HoLC has kind of followed the resilience theory. At first glance, HoLC looks like any other average chorus, but this group is so much more than that. This is my 9th year being a part of this wonderful group, and besides all of the musical things that it has taught me, HoLC has had a great impact into molding me into the person that I am today. HoLC has introduced me to some of the most important people in my life, people that I didn't know that I needed before. Before my dad and I moved to Hawaii, we lost my mom due to cancer. And of course, this took a big emotional toll on me, and especially because I was a 7-year-old who would need my mom in the upcoming years. And living in a totally different place than before without my mom intimidated me. I put a bit, but it actually intimidated me a lot. Because as much as I love my dad, he was just as lost as I was without my mom. I joined HoLC right after we moved here, and the directors and mothers and fathers of my new friends slowly became mother and father figures for me, helping me to fill the empty shoes that my mom left behind. Ranging from doing things that were little, like brushing and braiding my hair for performances, to deeper things like helping me navigate through my high school experience, and even Uncle Toby, who has become like a second father figure, being a role model and helping me to lift some of the weight off of my actual dad's shoulders. And so, moving on to P4C, it has helped me to trust myself, and it's encouraging me to go with my instincts. If something is wrong, I should speak up about it. I think that this world has a very set mold for teenagers and how things should be done in society. And so when a kid notices that something is wrong, and we might try to speak up about it and question it, people might try to convince us to hide our voice, when in reality, every kid has something to say, and we all deserve to be heard. P4C has provided me with a safe environment where I can ask my questions with no hesitation at all, and where I don't have to worry that I might be judged or ridiculed. HoLC is also a chorus, which means we do more than singing. along with, like Rob said, along with operas, hula, musical theory, and voice lessons, festivals, and tours. Because of how involved and vast the HYOC community is and how much we do, it's helped me learn how to express myself and find out who I am. So HYOC might seem like a blessing in disguise, but I've learned that in reality, being a part of a supportive and influential group like this are really just blessings upon blessings. Thank you.
You know, as I've been listening, and like I said, I don't know what's coming out today, right? We didn't really, I just told them, just talk about what it means to you, and that's what I left it at. You know, I had Steve Yim was a counselor who I first worked under about 25 years ago, and I had no idea what to do. I'm not a, psychologist or certified counselor. I just kind of fell into the field, and I said, what do I do? I have no idea to do what I do. And he said, just love them. I go through resiliency theory, and as I hear the speakers these last 2 days saying such articulate and wonderful things, a lot of times I think sometimes it's pretty simple, right? You just love them. Okay, next group. We're going to go on to HoLCs Sidetracking, which is a partnership I've been doing about 10 years. I'll just give you a historical background. You guys can explain what it is, or try to explain what it is. Some of you probably know of Brother Noland as a musician. He's also an outdoorsman, and he has a passion for taking kids out into nature and teaching them lessons about not just surviving in nature, but life. All the partners I work with, they're just amazing teachers to me and the kids. You just find these inspirational teachers in your life, and I always just try to get the kids around them. So for HYOC, we should mention Auntie Nola Nahulu, who's the artistic director, and Brother Nolan's another one. So who's going to start off? We have Rob, Jalissa, Layla, Zyler, and Ryan have all been a part of that group and still are. Who's going to start off with the what? Kind of what do we do? Oh, you all are going to do it, right? Yeah. So what, and then what it means to you. Sorry.
So from the outside, Hawaiian tracking is just a Hawaiian culture survival program, but it's way more deep. From it, I've learned, I've gained an appreciation for nature and culture. It's also taught me mental and social and even spiritual awareness. Students are put together as they face challenges in nature and even individually.
Okay, one thing we do, and it's probably both my favorite and least favorite thing that we do, is the obstacle course. So basically, there's this one spot that we always go to, and because I'm so bad at names, I don't know what it's called. And so it's all I know is that it's a botanical garden, I'm pretty sure, and you can go, yes. Still don't know what it's called. But there's this one part where you can kind of enter the forest. So there's the parking lot, and you go down, and then this is where we'll do a whole bunch of stuff and eat lunch and stuff. And then there's this small trail that takes you around to the parking lot, and then you come back through, and there's this bamboo and rocks. And then you go back to the start, and then you go through, and then you come out this tunnel of leaves. It's really fun to do sometimes, not when it's really muddy, because you have to crawl to get out, and so you're kind of just in the mud, and the branches are smacking you in the face. And also, when you're going down the bamboo, if you touch the wrong spot, unfortunately, as many of my classmates have learned, you get a whole bunch of splinters. And something Uncle Noel always tells us is, always have duct tape on you. You can use it for anything. Some kids talking, duct tape his mouth shut. Problem solved. Got splinters in your hand? Duct tape on, duct tape off. Splinters gone. So, yeah, it's one thing that we do. We learn how to run through the forest in a natural terrain, but be quiet while doing it. Because if you are running from something that may be potentially dangerous, you don't want to be, the thing's going to be like, oh, there's a person. Now I know how to run after him. So that's one thing that we do.
Well, to other people, inside tracking may just be like another excuse to get out of the classroom. But truthfully, to me, it's mostly about trying to find the best of ourselves in the old-fashioned way, like old. And I like that method. There's just no there's no someone trying to get into your personal, no one's trying to fix you. It's just you, nature, and see what you could do better.
One thing we do is opening words, and what it is basically is you put your left hand under and your right hand over, and so you're giving your heart to someone else and sharing, and it's basically thanking the Creator for everything and being grateful. And yeah, that's it really.
Rob, you want to add anything to the what? And then you guys can talk about what it means to you guys.
Okay, so Hawaiian Sidetracking project was, I guess I'll kind of explain how it started. So by Brother Nolan, there was a project on the mainland called the Tracking Project, which was started by John Stokes, who learned survival skills from Native American and Aboriginal people. So Uncle Nolan went there, he learned from John Stokes, came back and started Hawaiian Sidetracking, which is the Native American and the Aboriginal skills mixed with the Hawaiian skills. So tracking, what we do now, it's like we do field trips a couple times, like once a month. For right now, it's mostly elementary schools, Waikiki Elementary, Myron B. Thompson, some other ones, but they do a day field trip where they learn skills from Uncle Nolan, like martial arts, stone net, awareness, and then for Waikiki School, they follow up with P4C after to talk about the experience.
Now, yeah, what did it mean to you guys? Or what impact did it have on you? And you can pass if you want. That's why we got plenty of you, yeah? What you got, Brian?
Kind of helps you to appreciate the environment, and he said that tracking kind of meant tracking the past, and it's just a fun thing to do as well, and
Well, I'm gonna just talk about change first before I've been inside tracking. Before, you could just say I was not someone known to be smart, make the right choices, or act appropriately, be cool under pressure. I was kind of misunderstood to other people. I think one problem with me was that I'd keep comparing myself to other people, and that put me down a dark path, and I kept doubting myself because I wasn't as good as them, and I never believed I could be good as them, and I know I was too young to be in that type of mindset, but that's how I was thinking. Whoa, my grammar's so off. Whew. How's your afternoon? Okay, I got you back. Okay, so when Mr. Toby introduced me to Inside Tracking, it was just a little group, and we were outside, the outdoors. I'm really familiar, and I was really familiar with the outdoors. I'm very crafty. That's what I thought. That's how I think about myself before and it just snapped. We started making things, I did, and I got my chance to show everything. And I think I surprised them, like, didn't expect that coming from me. And it gave me something that day. And it's like not like an item, but I got to keep it sick though. They gave me values in life, what I wanted to aim to be when I grow up, what I want in people, and what I want around me. So that's what Inside Tracking means to me.
My turn. Okay. Just when you said I got to bring a stick home, that reminded me of something. Every time I came home, my mom would be so angry at me because I had yet either a rock or a stick. So eventually, in the corner of our house, we just had a whole bunch of like spears that I was making or knives. I remember at one point I had a bow and I was making arrows. It was actually very hard to make that bow, and my mom ended up throwing it away because I left my knife over at my dad's house, and so I couldn't finish it. And so my mom just ended up throwing it away, which was kind of sad because it took me a really long time to make that bow. But oh well. When I went to Inside Tracking, it was actually the first year that Mr. Toby had come to my school. I had already been there for a year after having I moved in the middle of first grade to Waikiki before I was living on the North Shore. Me being the first grader was completely fine with this. My sister was not. She got very sad. But that's not what this is about. In third grade, my parents also got divorced. And this was very hard on me, as just the mere mention of parents could get me reduced to tears. But for Inside Tracking, it was nice because it was a place where I could be alone but be surrounded by people, where I could have time to myself to reflect but be surrounded by people who cared for me. And it was really nice at that time to just have people there who may or may not be going through the same thing and who cared for me. And yeah, I'm crying now. I always cry though. I cry over the summer, my aunt was very impressed by my ability to be crying, but also shove food in my face at the same time. Because we were watching a movie and we were eating dinner, and so I was just sitting over my plate shoveling food into my mouth. But it was really nice to have this group that I could go to where I could be myself and be outside, which I don't really like doing. I am very much an indoors person, but it was always nice to go outside with these people. These people made me excited to go outside. And so it was very nice And that's what I guess Hawaiian Sidetracking means to me.
Oh. Okay. So I think tracking is very important to me because it's a very important part of who I am today. Similar to like Layla. My parents separated when I was really young. So as a kid, I was kind of lost. I was just existing in a way. So Mr. Toby introduced me to tracking, and I was part of like one of the OG groups. So I've been in tracking for a while now, but I think it's helped me form who I am so much today because when you're vulnerable in nature and like you're facing all these challenges, it's hard. But once you get through it in nature, you come back to like modern life, you know, with all these people, and everything just seems irrelevant. Like everything is easier to handle. So I'm gonna try to connect it back to the 3 points of the resiliency theory. The first point was having a adult that cares for you, and for me that's Mr. Toby. Okay, sorry, this is hard. But me and Mr. Toby used to talk a lot when I was young, and which was nice for me because I had a lot of issues that I had to deal with during the first couple of years my mom left. You know, because I live in a house with all boys, which is disgusting sometimes. So being the only girl, you know, I had a lot of challenges I had on my own, which I can face now that I've been in tracking. But Mr. Toby was always there to help me. Still yet, 10 years later, he's still here. What's the second point? For me and my peer group, tracking, like I said, we're all vulnerable and we're all vulnerable together. And all you have when we're there is each other. So, and everyone in that group is of different descent. We're all different people. We come from different stories and walks of life. So I get to connect with other people. And they get to help me, and I get to help them. So that's really nice. And then the last one, showing your skills. Tracking has a lot of skills that you work on, that you excel in. So there's that. For me, I like to do more of the mental aspect of tracking, the rough part of it, the mosquitoes eating you but not being able to scratch it. So that's my specialty, if you will. Some people are better at making fire. Some people are better at fishing, but for me, it's mental toughness. So yeah, thank you, Mr. Toby.
I think some of the main things I got from tracking, so I guess HoLC too is self-confidence. The way I speak, sometimes I have trouble like expressing myself and being confident. I guess tracking also leadership. Me and Jalissa, we're not in the Waikiki Elementary group anymore, but so we help Pocono teach the smaller ones and be like demonstrating how to do something properly, or just helping Uncle Nolan with his bags or something. Yeah.
We got 2 more to hear from. And, I told them beforehand, before we even started, I was proud of them. And I still am. These guys are some of my great teachers. And these guys they've withstood challenges that I've never had to. So they're my inspiration. Okay, we're going to move to Ryan. He's our only, interesting, Art's our longest running group, but for some reason I only brought Ryan. But he's going to tell us a little about similar, I'm sorry, Zyler, I'm standing right in front of you. All of these things are the same basic idea. You just love them. You put them with good teachers who care about them and give them time for Aloha, yeah, and to develop their strengths. So Ryan is an awesome artist. So you want to tell us just a little bit about art class and how that's been for you? All
One thing is that it's very enjoyable because you're surrounded by other people who have the same hobbies as you, and so it's easier to communicate and work with them. Some things we do in art is like painting, and some of it like it's more creative as well because sometimes we try things we've never tried before. And it helps me because when I first got introduced to art, it helped me because it was like, because I have very few hobbies. I feel like I have very few hobbies, but I think it helps me manage my anger and help me. And also in the beginning of art class, we would do P4C. Yeah.
All right, last is my P4C friend, Ali and I. Ali is like really good at P4C. So she and I have done a lot of P4C stuff together, so I'll turn it over to her.
Yay, I get to go last. So I was in sort of like a group where we would go to like other schools, like mid-pack, and we went to UH once, and we would do like a P4C presentation for them, and we would sort of teach them P4C and like help them, tell them what they're doing right, and like help them be better at kind of what they were doing or what they needed help with. And yeah, so we did that, and then we peer mediated, which means that we went and we helped other kids like resolve conflict between each other. Yeah. Oh God. Before we came here, I had like a whole plan in my mind of what I'm gonna say, and now I'm completely blanking out.
Didn't help that I changed it 10 minutes before. So,
Yeah. So basically, we did P4C, and we did P4C, and we talked on and so basically, what that group meant to me was, it was like it was a family. We were all connected in the fact that we all did P4C. We all loved doing it. And yeah, it was, the group, we met during lunch on Mondays. And really, it was one of the only things that motivated me to get up in the morning and go to school and do the best I could. Yeah. And we did a lot of things, and we all, like, if one of us was sad, we were all sad because we all had this special connection, and we all loved each other, really. I keep going back to this, but we were a family. And yeah. So bringing this back to the resiliency theory is because the first point was, of course, like having a caring adult. So Mr. Toby helped us, and a couple other teachers were there, and they cared for us. They were the ones that like selected us to be part of this group And then this is kind of connecting to the third point. We were all good at P4C, and they had selected us to do this and go and help other kids because we were good at P4C, because it was something we had basically all of us done since kindergarten all the way through to 5th grade. And yeah, and then the second point, having a group of peers, we were all there for each other. We all knew that we could talk about anything and everyone would listen. If someone had something to say, we would listen. We would care. And yeah, I think that's a super important thing to have, is just someone there to listen to you. And yeah.
Good job, you guys. They always surpass my expectations, you know. I learned that if you have faith in kids, right, they'll surpass your expectations every time. And what we'll do, we got about 10 minutes, we'll do Q&A, but I think we'll do it a little bit of a different way. But I'll say a last couple words. I was taking notes. Our keynote speaker this morning, the very end, right, her message was, shatter people's single stories and bring out the untold stories, right? So, I don't know, I'm thinking as I'm talking, right? So a lot of this is about helping them write their own stories, right? And I want to thank you folks for being an audience and listening to their stories. So thank you. And Q&A, how about what we do? We've got 10 minutes, and what we found the last time we did something like this, everyone wanted to talk to someone. So we'll end the formal microphone part, but how about I send you guys out kind of that away, and just spread yourselves out. And if you want to talk to them or have a question about any of the programs or initiatives or any of their experiences, just go up and chat with them for a few minutes. Okay, so thank you. Go ahead.